In this episode, we will be talking about the transformation of a village in Gujarat. We will also talk about deepfake videos. But first, we talk about the fall of Jet Airways and its founder-promoter Naresh Goyal. Hi, my name is Rahel Philipose, and you are listening to 3 Things, the Indian Express News Show. In early September, Naresh Goyal was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in a money laundering case, accused of carrying out an alleged fraud of Rs 538 crore with Canara Bank. And since then, the Enforcement Directorate has released its charge sheet in the case, and the list of allegations against Goyal has expanded significantly. The Indian Express's Deeptiman Tiwary walks us through these allegations.
Well, the Enforcement Directorate in its charge sheet has alleged that Goyal siphoned off the loan amount that was extended, which is close to Rs 6,000 crore, by a consortium of banks. And a substantial amount of it was siphoned off in various ways.
This included Rs 4,000 crore being siphoned off through Jet Airways India Limited or JIL, giving loans to Jet Light Limited.
Jet Light Limited was basically a company formed after Jet India Limited acquired Sahara, and all those aircraft were taken over and Jet Light Limited was created to compete with low-cost carriers. However, JIL and JLL could not merge, and JIL was giving loans to JLL, and these loans were never returned back. In fact, they were adjusted against ticket sales, so that money never came back to JIL. So almost 4,000 crore, the ED has alleged, was siphoned off in this way. Then he had appointed his own family. All those people were getting massive salaries. Some close to 9 crore rupees over the years had been paid to the family in salaries. Then all family members were given BMW and Mercedes cars. His personal staff at his home, their salaries were being paid by JIL.
He says in addition to this, Goyal had also hired several consultants and professionals from companies that had nothing to do with the aviation sector.
For example, a mosquito coil manufacturer was hired to manage salaries. Then there was another railway spare parts company was hired to service aircraft spare parts. There are many such examples where these consultants, their background appears dubious and there is no evidence of the services that they have provided, is what the ED has alleged. And many of these companies were actually interlinked, which basically what ED has suggested, that they could be linked to either the promoter or to confidants of the promoter, which it has said in its charge sheet it is still investigating. So, for example, there is an auditor of JIL, Chaturvedi and Shah. This auditor floats 9 companies. These 9 companies are all interlinked and they are hired as consultants. Their total turnover is equal to the total business that they have done with JIL, which means these companies before and after never did any business, which means they were probably floated purely for doing business with JIL or probably for siphoning of funds.
Now, another way in which Goyal is believed to have siphoned funds was by paying irrational and inflated commissions to general sales agents or GSAs, which are now considered obsolete in the industry.
There were around 100 GSAs which were hired across the globe. On top of that, there was a global GSA, which is unheard of in the aviation industry. And the total money paid to these GSAs over the years was around 2,300 crore. Interestingly, 50% of these 2,300 crores went to GSAs, which were companies actually controlled by Goyal himself. So as chairman of JIL, Goyal was paying himself through an obsolete system which everybody suggested should be done away with because it was draining the financials of the company. In fact, with the advent of internet, the airline industry had moved to more modern forms of transactions and accounting and ticket booking and the like. Yet Goyal insisted that this should be done.
In fact, he points out that Goyal himself was a GSA before he founded Jet Airways. Now, the rise and fall of Naresh Goyal is particularly startling because he was once considered the poster boy of Indian aviation. And in the years that followed, Goyal was able to turn Jet Airways into a world-class airline. His influence within the Indian aviation sector also grew considerably. But some former executives from Jet Airways have said Goyal's leadership style played a significant role in the company's eventual fall from grace. This included the assessment that Goyal was somehow stuck in the 90s and was averse to change.
His top executives, such as his CEO and vice president, legal affairs, and other such top executives, have told the enforcement directorate that he was very obstinate. And though he was non-executive chairman of the company, he almost micromanaged the whole company. He had the final say in almost all matters, and he would just not listen to aviation experts and believed that he was the repository of all the knowledge.
Even when the company was in the middle of a crippling financial crisis, Deeptiman says Goyal was unwilling to part with his shares. This, many say, is another big factor that eventually led to Jet Airways shutting shop.
So in such situations, the only way a company can be recapitalized is that the shareholders, liquidate their shares. People who own the company liquidate their shares. The promoter chiefly liquidates his shares. Now, in JIL, Naresh Goyal held more than 50% of the stake. 24% was held by Etihad Airways, and rest of it was with the public. So it was upon Naresh Goyal to recapitalize the company by liquidating his shares. But he would just not do it. He did not want to do it because then he would lose controlling stakes in the company, which he did not want to do it, which many top executives thought that was to the detriment of the company's health and led to its final sinking.
As early as 2008, the company encountered turbulence. With global oil prices surging, the world plunging into a financial crisis, and more low-cost carriers entering the market, prompting Jet Airways to incur substantial debt.
Look, as long as the industry is doing well, so even if you commit some financial fraud, it is not visible and it does not impact the company. But everything starts to make sense and everything starts to have an impact when the market is not doing well. So it was Jet's misfortune that while all this financial fraud was happening, the market sentiments also went down. The aviation industry was not doing well. Aviation fuel became costly. There was higher taxation. General operating cost became very high. There was greater competition. JIL especially could not compete with low-cost airlines such as Indigo. And all of this came together to sink JIL.
And next we talk about the transformation of a village in Gujarat that is home to the world's tallest statue, the 182-meter bronze effigy of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, which was inaugurated back in October 2018. This village is the Kewadia village and is situated between the Satpura and Vindhyachal mountain ranges.
It was a sleepy village which was known for its vocal protests of the Narmada Bachao Andolan led by Medha Patkar against the land acquisitions made by the Sardar Sarovar Narmada Nigam Limited or SSNNL for the construction of the Sardar Sarovar Dam, which is the lifeline of Gujarat.
That's the Indian Express's Aditi Raja, who reports on the state for the paper.
It has recently been rechristened as Ekta Nagar, which is now a vibrant, bustling city administered by the Statue of Unity Area Development and Tourism Governance Authority.
She says that since the inauguration of the statue, Ekta Nagar has emerged as one of the state's top tourist destinations, alongside other renowned attractions like the Gir Sanctuary, the Run of Kutch, Dwarka, and Ahmedabad. And this transformation can be attributed not only to the presence of the statue of the Iron Man of India, but also to the development of other peripheral attractions in the area.
There are 30 peripheral attractions which form the tourism circuit, which was inaugurated in 2020 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And it includes the Valley of Flowers, Vishwavan, Jungle Safari, Arogyavan, Cactus Garden, Butterfly Garden, and Ekta Nursery, 2 tent cities in the backwaters of the dam or along the canal. On the other side of the statue, there is the Khalwani ecotourism site, there is the Zarwani ecotourism site, there is a Nauka Vihar, there is even river rafting. So there is a lot that people can do in Ekta Nagar now.
And she says this has completely transformed the landscape of the area. For example, earlier, a canopy of banyan trees kissed each other across the then 2-lane highway from Vadodara to the village, spanning about 90 kilometers.
But now, with a 4-lane highway and with close to 8,000 banyan trees gone, you just see a landscape of upcoming residential projects, villas that would tell you how far you are from the Statue of Unity. And of course, more than a dozen luxury hotels lined up in Kevadia itself, and also, along the 90-kilometer stretch to accommodate tourists. In fact, you even have brands like Taj, you have the Fortune Group, Ramada Group that have, started building hotels there. So it's not just the highway, but Kevadia village in itself, which has undergone a facelift and become Ekta Nagar city in perhaps the fastest transformation of a rural landscape to a thriving tourist city with a railway station, with international food chains opening up, luxury hotels, including these tent cities along the river bank, and a corporation-like administration, which I mentioned, the SOUADTGA. So it must be one of its first villages to have become a corporation area in such a quick span of time.
Now, over a year ago, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the peripheral attractions, the Gujarat government projected a 9,000 crore economic impact by 2022. This was supposed to occur within a 100-kilometer radius of the Statue of Unity.
So now, while the villages in the proximity of Ekta Nagar are definitely seizing that opportunity that the growing tourism has offered, there is a clear divide between those who have directly benefited from income opportunities and those who have not. So when you are on the ground and when you speak to people who have been able to get employment at the Statue of Unity or one of its peripheral attractions, or as employees of an agency that has been outsourced the job of getting employees, they are happy. So, we meet a villager who was earlier working as a gardener about 100-200 kilometers away in Valsad, who has now received income within Kevadia or within Ekta Nagar now because he has been employed as a security guard through an agency there, and he's happy. Similarly, a lot of people in the villages around Ekta Nagar are also exploring this opportunity of village homestays, tribal homestays. It has become one of the most go-to businesses for local villagers there, converting a room in their house equipped with all modern amenities to get in tourists to come and stay there and, experience the life in a village. In fact, just last month, the district administration has even announced a beneficiary scheme for villagers who want to register as homestays, and they will be offered a support of 4.5 lakh rupees to build a homestay in their existing house.
She says as a result, entire colonies of homestays have come up in the region and real estate prices have gone up, especially with outside players also investing in the region. Now, before the Statue of Unity was built, the village used to be a picnic spot. Tourists used to visit the Sardar Sarovar Dam, and it was local vendors rather than big food chains who would sell them roasted corn, wafers and samosas.
But it was a very seasonal picnic spot, especially during the monsoon when the dam would overflow, when the people would come to see the dam. So currently, Ekta Nagar is a tourist spot at any time. It's not just the dam overflow that people are coming to see. Now, those people who have been displaced, some of them have been accommodated in other peripheral areas. There are a few hundred shops that have now been built that will shortly be given out or allotted to some displaced residents is what we believe. But this is one complaint that a lot of residents do have, especially those who were running food stalls, which people would frequent when they would go there. Now, of course, everything is run by hotel chains or food chains, whether food chains located in Gujarat or from international food chains. So there is a food court. So it has affected the locals in that way, but it has also created opportunity from the fact that there are those many more tourists visiting there, and they will soon find their share of profit.
And besides all of this, Aditi tells us that what makes this project particularly compelling is the sheer number of tribal women who have achieved employment and financial independence through it.
And when you go to the ground, although there are people who are disappointed about losing lands, about losing their employment probably, or losing out on benefits that the tourism sector has now brought in over there. Women in these areas are extremely positive, and they do have a hope. So you have a Sakhi Mandal from Bhumalia village, which is close to Ekta Nagar, which was the only registered microfinance self-help group that was taken on by the forest department to run the Arogyavan canteen. This is a group of 15 women who cook food at the canteen and they serve the tourists. Some of the women are single women because maybe they have been deserted by their husbands or they are widows. They have been able to set up homestays equipped with air conditioners, modern amenities, just by the fact that they have been able to step out of their village and do something on their own. They feel more confident. You have women running e-rickshaws in Ekta Nagar. So all your pink e-rickshaws in Ekta Nagar are run by women. One of the rickshaw drivers we spoke to said that she earns about 500 rupees per day, which is a huge amount for her, and it has made her independent. She has been able to buy a two-wheeler for her husband, and she was so thrilled about it. So there are many such stories of hope, of empowerment of women from this area, which is definitely very encouraging.
Now going forward, Aditi says there are plans to make Ekta Nagar a fully electric vehicle city. The idea is that only battery-powered vehicles will be allowed to run in the jurisdiction.
Also, there is a clear plan to develop Ekta Nagar on 3 themes, which is nature, water and culture, according to the CEO of SOUADTGA, Udit Agarwal. They are adding new attractions. Some of them were inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on October 31. The tourist experience has to be also enriched in terms of mobility, because if it becomes an electric vehicle city, tourists will not be allowed to bring in their private vehicles into the jurisdiction. So they also plan to make it a pedestrian-friendly electric vehicle city with bike sharing systems, with golf carts available to take you around, and also make it friendly for the needs of the physically handicapped people. So there is a lot of plan in place, but also there are challenges because converting a place like that into an electric vehicle city is going to be a time-consuming process, and there are also finances involved in it, which the government is aware of.
Though what's also worth noting is that Ekta Nagar or Kevadia is also an important poll plank for the BJP in the state, since it has claimed credit for its transformative facelift.
साथियों, संकल्प से सिद्धि का एक बहुत बड़ा उदाहरण हमारा ये एकता नगर भी है। 10-15 वर्ष पहले किसी ने सोचा भी नहीं था कि केवड़िया इतना बदल जाएगा। आज एकता नगर की पहचान ग्लोबल ग्रीन सिटी के तौर पर हो रही है। यही वो
It has always been an election pitch of the BJP that Ekta Nagar's Statue of Unity has resulted in employment opportunities for tribals. Also, Ekta Nagar is always under the political microscope, and now with becoming a convention center of sorts for the government of India, where all dignitaries from abroad are brought in, every national conference is held in Ekta Nagar. It has a lot of significance in terms of the political movements happening there as well.
And finally, we talk about deepfakes. For those of you who may not know, deepfake is a video in which a person's face or body has been digitally altered so that they appear to be someone else. These videos are often used maliciously with the intent to spread false information. And one such video of actress Rashmika Mandanna entering an elevator has now sparked controversy. The video originally featured the British Indian influencer Zara Patel, who has over 4 lakh followers on Instagram, but in the deepfake version, her face changes to that of Mandanna. A big giveaway is when the woman speaks with a foreign accent.
Hi. Didn't want to miss this elevator.
Damn, girl.
Since the video surfaced online, the actress herself has reacted strongly against the video and demanded action against the makers. We also heard from Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who called deepfake videos the latest and most dangerous and damaging form of misinformation. The minister also reminded social media platforms of their legal obligations under the IT rules notified in April this year. He said that it is the legal obligation of platforms to ensure no misinformation is posted by any user, and when reported by any user or the government, the misinformation is removed in 36 hours. The video was also shared by Amitabh Bachchan, who highlighted the need for new legal measures. And this isn't the first time a concerning deepfake has surfaced online. Another manipulated video depicting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky telling his soldiers to lay down their arms and surrender to Russia sparked a controversy last year.
Шановні захисники, бути президентом виявилося не так вже й легко. Я змушений приймати складні рішення.
Later, Zelensky took to Telegram to confirm that the video was fake and that he did not in fact direct soldiers to lay down any arms until victory. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. It was written and produced by me, Rahel Philipose, Utsa, Sarmin and Shashank Bhargava. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone who you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Podcast and write to us at podcast@indianexpress.com.